Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I admit to being a little sleep deprived. They started beginner's mind session last night, and so for sessions, my job is to check people in and take all their money. So I was up there checking people in until about 9 o'clock last night, then drove back.
Oh, gosh. Not a fun drive at night.
Yeah. Then it takes me a while to like unwind after being on the road and having to stay awake. Anyway,
That's a lot.
I've been doing it for almost 30 years. We moved up there in '97, so next year will be 30 years that I've been making that drive almost weekly, and now these days it's twice a week. Anyway, so yes, I did. I remembered.
Okay.
I know. I know. It's probably the one time I remember to press record because I was, hearing his voice in my head early for a change. I know. It's like, oh. All right, so this koan is kind of a trigger, not a trigger warning, but just there. It's a stack of koans. So there's one central point, but truly it feels like there's 60,000 koans in this one koan. This is case 32, Kyozan's state of mind. Preface to the assembly. The ocean is the realm of the dragon, who sinks and emerges with tranquil sport. Heaven is the home of the crane, who flies and calls in perfect freedom. Why does an exhausted fish remain in the shallows, or a sluggish bird live among the reeds? Is there any measure of gain or loss to be made of this? Main case. Attention. Kyozan asked a monk, "Where were you born?" The monk replied, "WaYu province." Kyozan said, "Do you think of it?" The monk replied, "I think of it always." Kyozan said, "Subjective thought is mind. Objective thought is the environment. Therein, there are such things as mountains, rivers, the great earth, towers and buildings, people and animals. Reflect upon the mind that thinks. Isn't something there?" The monk said, "As far as that, I don't see anything at all." Kyozan said, "As a belief, that's all right. As a person, that's not all right." The monk said, "Osho, do you have any particular instruction?" Kyozan replied, "To say I have something particular or not misses the point. As for your view, it reaches only one mystery. In taking a seat and wearing robes, observe it for yourself later on." Appreciatory verse. Embrace without separation, fly without impediment, gate and fence tower high, barrier and chain weigh heavy. When drinking is abundant, the guests go to sleep. When bellies are full, the farmer is destitute. Shooting in the vast sky, the wind flaps the gorada bird's wings. Stamping the waves in the blue sea, thunder sends off the sporting dragon. Okay. Well, let's dive in.
Let's get in there.
So the first trick question, where were you born? So he answers it, the usual way, WaYu province. Second trick question, do you think of it? The monk replied, "I think of it always." Okay, failure. Kyozan says, subjective thought is mind, objective thought is the environment. Therein, There are such things as mountains, rivers, the great earth, towers and buildings, people and animals. Reflect upon the mind that thinks. So he's just given him the answer to his next question. And he missed it. The next question is, isn't something there? The monk said, as far as that, I don't see anything at all. Seriously, dude, I just told you.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Yeah, exactly. I just told you what was there, and you don't see it. The monk said, Osho, do you have any particular instructions? You missed the point, dude. To say I have something particular or not misses the point. As for your view, the one where you don't see anything at all, it reaches only one mystery. In taking a seat and wearing robes, observe it for yourself later on, which means go back and sit. But you got it half right. You got it half right. So this is the juxtaposition of the relative and the absolute, and this particular monk is stuck in the absolute, where he thinks there's nothing at all, but emptiness does not mean nothingness. It's kind of where people get stuck. It's a wonderful place. You drop, body and mind, and you're left in this vast, just, free-floating, free of boundaries, free of any consideration space that is truly, what's the word I want?
Limitless.
Limitless, but it's addictive. It's what is something that seductive. That's the word I want.
Sounds like.
Sounds like, yeah. Knew there was a word and there's a word. My.
Proclus called it a transcendent simplicity, which is eminently desirable.
Ah, there you go.
Who said that?
Proclus, one Greek.
Yeah.
You agree?
Well, the Greeks had it going on. So yeah, say that again.
Transcendent simplicity, which is eminently desirable.
Transcendent simplicity, which is eminently desirable. And it truly is. It's this wonderful space. But it's not. It's only half the picture. Because yes, there is this transcendent simplicity, and there is the importance of relative interpersonal reactions and exchanges that go on day to day. So this is not a practice that is removed from reality. It is a practice that you take into reality, and you have to work both sides of this coin. It is the same coin, but it's both sides of it. And we get stuck on one side because it's transcendent. It is truly transcendent. So yeah, and he gets that. I mean, the teacher gets that. Kyozan gets it. So he drops this huge hint about what's missing from this monk's dialogue. Therein there are such things as mountains, rivers, the great earth, towers, buildings, people, animals, all the things that we encounter every day and work with every day and have to communicate with every day and have to deal with as they are every day. So, isn't something there? Trick question. I just told you what was all there. Let's see if you get it. But he stayed in his transcendent simplicity. He stayed in his, as for all that, because that's the cliche Zen answer. So he's being clever. He's trying to say, "Yep, I got this. You can trick me with it where I was born stuff, but when I'm looking at my mind that is thinking, I see nothing at all. Nothing."
So there really is nothing there.
Yes. And and the teacher. Oh, sorry, go ahead. What did you say, David?
When he enumerated all things, and then the guy said, and he said, I have nothing. So
Yeah.
he gave him both sides of the question.
He did. And Kyozan gives him credit. As a belief, that's all right. As a person, as someone who's got to deal with the world just as it is, not okay. Not okay to stay stuck in emptiness. And we've seen time and time and time and time again what happens with people who get stuck in emptiness because there's no accountability. Nothing is wrong or right. Everything is perfect just as it is. So you're okay with anything that you do. For half of that picture. The other half of that picture is that there is always karma, you're always accountable, and there are always consequences. So, how do you do both? You are the mountains and the rivers. You are the great earth. You are the towers and the buildings. You are all the people, and you are all the animals. And all the things that come up with in those realms, in those interactions, in those exchanges. You are not separate from that as well. So, you got it. You got half of it. Do you have any particular instructions? No, dude. I gave you the answer. You missed it. Go sit. You're almost there. You got half of it. You got the emptiness. You got the emptiness down. But now what? What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with this emptiness, with this direct experience of your true self? And that's really what this is about. This whole thing is about that true experience of the true self. The true self does not exist as a concept, just as emptiness cannot exist as a concept. It is the experience of having no concepts, and who you show up pre-concept, before thought. How do you experience the world? How do you interact with the world? Just as a person, just as an animal, just as a mountain, just as a river. Because you're not separate from any of those things. We are all that, and emptiness too. So the where was that paragraph? Yeah, so how can you stay in this I see nothing at all when everything's here? Everything's right here in front of you. And if you're stuck in emptiness, then none of that has any meaning, and truly it doesn't. It has no intrinsic meaning. However, it does have intrinsic value. Or the way I translate value is impact. Everything you do has impact. Everything that everything does has impact. And that's what we are the result of, and what we are creating with everything that we do and everything that we are. So staying awake and aware in those, as much in those interactions as in the emptiness, is the package deal that comes with. So it's easy. Easy enough. It's 99% of the population is stuck in this relative interaction. They have no experience of the emptiness because they don't sit down and shut up long enough to really get there. And that's the only place that exists, is when you really quiet the mind and quiet yourself and quiet the body to the point of really experiencing what's at the base of that. But then there are the people who do take the time to shut up, sit down, and work for years and years and years, and they have this experience of emptiness, and they get attached to that. And there are consequences from that, as we have seen with people who don't pay attention to both sides. So, but it's it's half the picture. And if you're going to get stuck someplace, it's probably it's not a bad place to get stuck. However, it does catch up with you after a while. But letting go of attachment to emptiness, one arrives at the stage of a person far beyond discrimination. So that non-discriminating aspect of the emptiness, the transcendent simplicity, is what you take into the relative experience to show up as that. the stage, because in that empty space, nothing is separate, nothing is discriminated. And if you can take that non-discrimination, that wholeness of that experience into your everyday life, into your everyday interchange, with it, not just people, animals, things, the environment. How do you use that to take care of what is right there in front of you? At all times, I love his last paragraph in this. I guess he was a biology professor at the University of California. I wonder which one. He doesn't say.
He says.
No, he just says University of California. He doesn't say which university.
Probably Cal. They assume they're all.
They all do.
Everything's Cal.
Everything flows from Cal.
Yeah.
No, who's you talking about?
That's his previous job.
Oh, who?
Shishin Wick.
Oh,
He was a biology professor.
Wick?
Yeah. He
WIC?
W-I-C-K.
Author of the book.
He wrote the commentary in this book.
Oh, okay.
He was one of Maizumi Roshi's successors. He joked that the graduates in the biology department could only distinguish a mouse from an elephant by looking at their DNA. Which is funny, but but if you don't distinguish things by their superficial appearance, how much easier might it be to see the similarities between the two? Because everything on the planet shares DNA to a certain extent. A certain percentage of DNA is in everything on the planet. So perhaps in some sense, it's a good thing to not be able to distinguish between animals without really looking at their DNA and see how similar they are and where they diverge. So, however, one should be able to tell the difference, between a mouse and an elephant. They are extremely distinct. There's no mistaking one for the other.
They both have big ears.
Relative to their bodies, I suppose they do.
especially if one is charging at you.
Huh?
Especially if one is charging at you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I hate charging mouse. From
yeah.
your
I think,
your house.
yeah, I think that'd probably be more likely to experience a charging mouse than a charging elephant. So, there seem to be more of them, especially in my neighborhood.
So, did you say Shishin Wick?
Yes.
Yeah, you were right, Berkeley.
Oh, Berkeley.
It's
Whenever
Cal.
they don't distinguish, it's always Cal.
It's Cal.
Oh, it's Cal. Okay.
Yeah, they are the Cal. Okay.
Everything flows
Right.
down from.
Everything is yeah.
Yeah, and his PhD was in physics.
Oh, in physics. Oh, okay. Not biology. But
Well, physicists say there's physics and then there's everything else.
yes.
Even
There's only
they're even more small
there's
people.
us and then everything else and them. Yeah. Yeah, I should have guessed physics. Just having a conversation with him is quite heady. But he's very nice. He's very down to earth. If you meet him, talk to him, you would never know that he, I think he has more than one PhD, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Brainiac. Yes.
So the vibe I'm kind of getting is like that the lesson is like each the superficial objective and then this, call it transcendent or not, but the emptiness are like they redeem each other for in terms of like usefulness. Like you need to carry the emptiness in order to appreciate and identify and be appropriately like discriminate in the world of consequence, and then you also need to like carry around the world of consequence in order to not escape into the into this emptiness, the
Transcendent simplicity.
Yeah. Transcendent simplicity. Yeah.
I can read the words. It's so hard to get the meanings.
think I get that. Like it has like a kind of like a Taoist like sense to it. Like there's God. You gotta acknowledge the yang in the that's in the yin and vice versa. But it kind of like strikes me the question that he gets right, that the student gets right, like where he's from, you know, and it comes off like a throwaway, and I wonder if I'm missing something there. Like, is he saying something about, like when I think about, do you think of where you're from, and like all the different ways that you can answer where you're from. It says the province, you could say the town, you could say the hospital, you could say the world, you know, whatever. And whether you think of it, like what is that? Like what do you mean? And yeah, like I don't wonder what you think, or if there's something there that I'm missing about origin, or about this. Like this might be like a bit free of an association, but like the main point of like you have to carry the objective to appreciate and be in the subjective and vice versa. Is there something about like carrying what like your sense of place or your sense of origin or something like that there? Or is it just purely a device to contrast and screwing up?
Well, I mean, you could look at it both ways. And who knows, what was in the minds of these two at the time. This is 9th century China, very much imbued with Taoism by this point. So yes, that this non-separate. So I mean, I think the point is that he's trying to make is, how do you, what are you making of this origin place? What are you making this mean? So Yu province, okay, that's a place to be born, but what about it? Do you think of it? I think of it always, but what's missing from that answer is what are you doing with those thoughts? And how does that inform you here and now? How's your mind working in that reflection? So he's spending what sounds like it might be at least some amount of time, if not maybe too much of the time, thinking of where he's from instead of where he is. Does that if you were from someplace else, how would that change, or would it change at all? So, he is at the same time in this relative, IU subject-object sense with this place, and I think of it always. That's a very relative place, but he still has this experience of emptiness that he's attached to.
Yes.
So, yeah, well, and the fact that he
kind of tells him.
yes, he does. Yeah. So that's kind of where, it's kind of the trap, and then I think Maizumi Roshi Tenshin tells a story about someone asking Maizumi Roshi, doesn't identify who, that, what they thought a teacher should do, and a teacher should help, students with their koans. And Maizumi Roshi's answer to whoever he was speaking to was, my job as a Zen teacher is to throw bricks in front of you.
So what?
Bricks. So, and it is. I mean, it is to test you, because you teach yourself. That's you get the work that you have in it. That's the other section that I was looking for. So there's another part of this. This exchange, it goes on. Kyozan taught his students, in my shop, there's a wide range of goods. If someone comes looking for mouse turds, then I give him some. If someone comes looking for real gold, then I give that to him. And it says a monk. I'm not sure if it's the same monk. So this is a different paragraph. A monk said to him, I don't want mouse turds. May I have the master's real gold? And Kyozan said, you can try to bite the head of a flying arrow. Just picture that. You can try to bite the head of a flying arrow until the year of the ass. There's no such thing as the year of the ass. So obviously, forever until some time that doesn't exist. But you won't succeed. The monk couldn't respond to this, so Kyozan added, if you want to exchange something, we can make a deal. If you don't want to exchange anything, then we can't. So either you're going to do the work or not. Me giving you something, gold or mouse turds, is not what this practice is all about. This practice is about finding your own true self. The only person that can experience your true self is you. That's the work you have to put in. That's the exchange. So, yeah, you can get the gold if you do the work. If you don't do the work, there's mouse turds, which may have some value somewhere. Probably the fact that the mouse doesn't have them inside him anymore is probably valuable.
They actually fought wars over guano, bird crap, because that's what they used to make explosives out of.
Oh,
And fertilizer.
wow. Explosive.
What do you make out of it?
Explosives, nitrates,
And fertilizer.
nitroglycerin, dynamite,
All right.
boom boom,
So,
Fireworks.
trinitrotoluene, TNT.
so that
Mouse turds can be valuable.
If he has nothing to
If you have enough
exchange,
of them.
then he has nothing to give, that would be the best place to be.
why?
Because they're both, I mean, like, the answer to the question is, yeah, I'm alive, and I'm stuck here.
Mm.
I think about it all the time. And he's saying, okay, yeah, there is all that shit, but, I forget what the last answer is, oh, yeah, I have nothing. So they go back and forth, and I think it's not so much in the person, but in the dialogue to some degree.
Yeah,
There's clues in there.
yeah.
But
Well-
I had one more. But
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
said, if I'm constantly here, and I'm pretty damn aware of that, is a pretty good answer.
Mhm.
But how do you get the other part of it in the same answer?
Yeah, yeah. So it's really more about how you use that answer in everyday life. So if indeed you are in this not knowing place, which is a wonderful place to be, in this place where I am nothing and have
The
nothing.
most intimate.
Yeah, it's a wonderful sentiment, but what good is it to you? How do you use it every day? How does it help with your interchange between yourself and the world, and the mountains, and the air, and the animals and people? So this is not a practice of isolation. It feels like it is because we're sitting, even though we sit in groups, we're not talking. It can feel very isolating. But I know whenever I do, 7-day session, I come out at the other end of that session thinking, I have really, I really feel grateful that I've had these people to not talk to.
But it gives you that, like, I don't know how obvious this is or whatever, like, when you can't talk, when you place a limit on conventionally, superficially, maybe, like, connecting to other people, and you have to be in, take this as woo-woo as you want to, like, just feel them intuitively around you, sharing an experience. It changes the way that you talk to people
Yes.
outside. It changes the way that you exchange with the clerk,
Yeah.
or the boss.
Well, you're sharing something together, even though you're not saying anything. You're sharing an experience, so
Yeah.
there's a camaraderie.
That's more
Comes out of it.
essential, right?
It's
Than,
work.
I think this, what do you think, I have this, you take that, it's more essential than that.
Yeah, well, and even on a subatomic level, we've all exchanged particles with everything around us. So by the end of the week, we are truly one.
Sometimes too much
Whether you
of one.
like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it, yeah. Exactly. Whether you like it or not, it's nothing to do. It has, yeah. It has nothing to do with like or dislike. You're right or wrong.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to Ash's question about that initial question from Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born? When he replies, the problem is, do you think of it? When he replied, I think of it always. So what is he thinking of? He's thinking of what he remembers from when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all, as we've said before, Maizu Roshi's famous quote, memory is alive.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she was saying she hadn't been by the house that I had grown up in. And I said, it's all gone. There's nothing there. It's just totally been obliterated, and some completely new monstrosity. The lot's been subdivided. The house is gone, and it just doesn't exist. So, but in her mind, which if she's thinking about, I think of it often. She's thinking about something that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It existed at a point in time, maybe in some way in her mind, but it doesn't in fact exist anymore.
Right.
And so the monk is spending so much time thinking about things and people and places that don't exist anymore, versus the present moment where it could be, And to that point, I was thinking to Cohen, before enlightenment, the mountains are just mountains and the rivers are just rivers. After enlightenment, the mountains are just mountains and the rivers are just rivers.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Jogan.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Yeah, there's also, there's a bit of ego involved with this as well. Not that ego is a bad thing, but because we all have to assert an ego in order to, have exchanges. There has to be an I, there has to be a you in a conversation. So the ego has a function, but in this case, not only is he busy thinking about this place where he isn't currently, but he's thinking of it as a person who isn't currently, because he was a different person when he wasn't you.
Right.
And he's channeling through these memories that are not real. So, and what would be a better answer? Where were you born? It's an interesting trick question. And are we not new every minute? So there's no was. There's only here. Because you're always, even if you're in memories, stuck in memories, you're remembering from where you are now, not from then. We think we're kind of reliving the past, but that's the delusion. That doesn't happen, and it's not the way memory works. And he's thinking, and right, we don't know exactly what he's thinking of always, and this always is like, okay, you're here in this monastery, trying to be present with the here and the now, and you're thinking, yeah.
You could, if teacher's being generous, you can say, how do you think of it?
Yeah.
And give him a bit of a chance,
Well, and he does. He basically gives him the answer in the next line.
Do you think of it? Well, yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
That's always the safe answer, right?
Yeah.
Well, that just depends.
Yeah. So subjective thought is mind. Objective thought is the environment. So he's helping him with this. He's basically laying it out. And then he goes on, and, therein, there are such things as mountains, rivers, the great earth, towers, buildings, people, animals. What else do you need? Okay, let's try this again. So the next question is, isn't something there? Or maybe it might have been better phrased as, isn't there something here? But again, it's a little bit of a barrier for the monk to get past. And the monk, again, he gets half of it. As far as I can see, I don't see anything at all. True. Because there's nothing there. There's nothing that has any meaning. It's empty. As all things are empty. But what do you do with that? if that's all that there is. So we're seeing this epidemic of nihilism right now with a lot of people who are realizing, because I think, finally science is beginning to catch up with what we've been being told for thousands of years, that there is, there is no local real reality. It's just, that's just the way the physicists are now expressing it, and people are latching on to that with, life is meaningless and everything is meaningless and what am I going to do? So it becomes this sob story, because you've just given meaninglessness meaning. So knock that off. So you've experienced this meaning, this meaninglessness, this emptiness. Now what? What are you going to do with this? How is this helping you? How is this helping the world? How is this contributing to what it is we're exchanging? Whether it's in this group, in this monastery, in this building, in this neighborhood, in this city, country, world. If you're stuck in nihilism, what are you going to do?
You've given up on your humanity, and you've given up. It's the exact opposite. My hypothesis away from an emptiness which can contain subjective and objective.
Mm-hmm.
This nihilism is like, okay, so now I can watch videos because I don't even have a meaning to exist.
Yeah. Without the consideration of the consequences.
There's a moral aspect to nihilism that people overlook when they say nothing matters. Nothing matters, and that means that humanity is sunk.
Yeah. And then there's the other, ego side of it. If nothing matters, then I could be Kanye West.
Well, that's what happens when nothing matters. Sorry.
So we leave out the fact that there is always karma. Karma is always attached. So thinking that nothing means anything and therefore I can watch videos, what is the cost of that? There will be a price to pay.
It's a mistake anyway. Because then you're. Yeah, like to say. I mean, you could take the Kanye West instability or whatever. What matters to him is his expression, his music, and then all of his dealings that he's doing. And he loves the samsara. It gives him a lot to. He's bipolar, and so he's in this mania and in depression, and he's constantly. You could say, it's meaningless, but he's getting something out of it. Just as somebody's going, nothing matters, so therefore I'm going to go on YouTube. Well, what are you doing on YouTube? You're putting meaning into your entertainment and into following what from the outside might be meaningless, or you might feel like, this isn't anything, but that's a reflection. You're making meaning of what you're doing. I think I really like the invocation of science as giving people permission to fall into this nihilistic attitude, because it's a perfect reflection of the juvenile criticism of Buddhism that I hear all the time, which is that form is emptiness, emptiness is form, Buddhism is a nihilistic religion, which just stops at the gate.
Yeah.
It stops right at the gate and goes, I get this, and so now I can pass judgment.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mistake of nihilism in itself, is to cast that judgment, to say, this is nihilistic. You can't get away from making meaning of that.
Yeah.
Making meaning by that. Right?
It loses the imminently desirableness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think you made a really good point. Nihilism has a valence. It's a judgment.
Yeah.
It's a position. Once you abandon that position, what's left?
Yeah. We all get stuck. It's good. It's good to talk about other people who aren't in the room, but we're all.
Probably talking about ourselves.
We're talking.
And we don't know.
Yeah, and everything is 100% projection. Yeah. So we are all guilty of this Zen sickness. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why they always contrapose prajna and upaya,
Mm.
wisdom, and means, there's always the compassion of the Buddha to relieve the suffering of yourselves and others. So that's how you act in the world.
Yeah.
You experience one thing, emptiness, and you carry it into the world with compassion and, the bodhisattva vow to help yourself and others. And
Yeah.
that's totally missing if you're just saying emptiness, schmemptiness,
Yeah.
the great.
Yeah. And the Buddha set the example because his enlightenment experience was only partial under the Bodhi tree. He had this dropping away of everything, and he saw the morning star. The morning star had been there for billions of years. This was not new. His enlightenment experience was not complete until he got up off of his ass and went back to take what he'd learned to probably the most resistant group of people that he could possibly encounter to begin with, and those were his fellow ascetic practitioners. At this point, he's the heretic. He sat down and realized something, and now he's bringing this realization to what these people had spent their lives trying to attain. Then he spent the next 40 years at that point, from that point on, teaching, building 3 monasteries, and doing the work. Constant exchange. And he used, they don't talk about this part of his life, but he used his privilege. He was a prince. So he used that privilege to get money to build the monasteries and to help people. So he managed to attract a wide variety, a huge swath of society was included in his monasteries. Some of them were quite wealthy. There's a section in the Vinaya that talks about not wearing furs and feather in the Buddha hall. It's probably because someone was wearing furs and feathers in the Buddha hall. Because there were some wealthy people, and I'm sure their relatives, meant well. They're up in the mountains sitting in the cold. Send them this warm, fur coat. And so, to honor that gift, the monk wore his furs and feathers in the Buddha hall, and thus a rule was born. Which is it gives you an example of who was there and what was going on. So there was this variety of people, but that's the point. It's that realization of emptiness is not yet in the second sutra we chant in the morning. We don't do it here, but there's a line in the identity of the relative and absolute is the experience of emptiness is not yet enlightenment. It isn't. It's a beginning. It's the foundation, but it isn't enlightenment until you get up and do something with it, and take responsibility for the karma that you will cause, because that's what we do with everything that we do, and we're always accountable for everything that we do and the impact that we have. And we may not always know what that impact is or what we cause, but we're always 100% accountable for that. All right. Questions, comments, disagreements, discussions? Anything, Kirk? No? You're shaking his head before I even asked you.
That's actually be awesome.
Brilliant.
Yes. Mike.
In the beginning, I think one of the words you mispronounced was Garuda.
Garuda. G-A-R-U-D. Garuda.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like a mythical man bird.
Yeah.
From Hinduism, that was the mount of Vishnu. And if you look it up in Wikipedia, there's some cool pictures.
Oh, good.
So
yeah.
It's like a cross between eagle and a man, and it flies and it eats cobras or nagas. So the Garuda was the enemy of the Naga, another mythical creature, is kind of snake human. And so Garuda was sacred to Vishnu, and the snakes were sacred to Shiva. So
The gods
two
are always,
schools,
gods are always fighting with each other.
Yeah, each school.
They love to.
Their
They
school
do.
were the best, so, but, you know, this, I have to admit that I think the South Indian, Hindus have the most entertaining mythologies. They have all these colorful creatures. and-
Yeah,
Beautiful monsters, we love it.
yeah.
The Garuda and the Naga were the activity of those two deities.
Well,
I just thought I saw that.
Shiva's was Nandi the bull, so that's why sacred cow. But Shiva's also associated with snakes and nagas.
Yeah.
They always show an iconography and a snake wearing a snake.
Yeah, yeah. Well, 40, was it maybe 30, 40 years ago, they actually, there was a television series production of the Mahabharata, which they depicted all of those mythological gods and things. I thought it was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
India would grind to a halt whenever they were showing it on TV. You couldn't get anything done.
Really, it was that popular. Well, I thought it was well done. I sat through it, and I would love to see it again. Maybe it's streaming, so I can't remember the name of it though. Maybe I'll just look at Mahabharata.
It was just Mahabharata.
Yeah.
It was on British TV.
Great. All right. Anything else? Any final thoughts before we close? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to attain it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to attain it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to put an end to them. The dharmas are boundless. I vow to master them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to attain it. Few announcements. So they're just Beginner's Mind Session is happening now up at Yokoji. They will finish tomorrow morning. Then I forgot to ask if there is the 4th next Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday.
Okay, I will be here. Anyone else who wants to be here, even though it's a holiday, welcome to join me. So, there's nothing else coming. There's the next. Oh, there is the month-long training period starts July 1st, which is this coming Tuesday, Wednesday. So, Kohaku Amber Adams will be the head trainee at Yokoji. So send positive thoughts to Yokoji for her head trainee experience. And tomorrow, Dharma talk from Yokoji, 11:30. Tune in if you have a chance. I will not be there. I'm going to a friend's memorial tomorrow, so I'll miss that. What's happening with our move?
I called the building leasing people for the space on Pine Avenue, but they haven't returned my call yet.
Okay.
But Alex reported last Saturday that the place was still locked up. It's locked during the week. I know that much. I gotta go by, get lunch and stuff. And the bigger problem is that the city has blocked off those two or three blocks now.
Oh, really? For the
Yeah.
World Cup.
For the World Cup, so
Yeah.
they turned it into a Party Central kind of thing. You can still kind of access it, and you have to kind of work your way through the things. But this morning I met with Ian from the church, and
Oh, that's who he was. Okay.
that's Ian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he introduced himself to me, and I wasn't sure. Because he asked me, "Are you here for meditation?" He said, "Oh, I'm just looking for Mark." I was, "Okay, he'll be." So,
Yeah, but you got to do work. You gotta-
yeah, I was surprised.
You got to
Well,
do work.
and he knew how many carts we had, which even surprised me. I was like, "How does he know this?" Mark must have really informed him. When you come, you have to take these 2 carts out. So that's how he knows. He's with. I didn't know who he was. That was
I see this guy, with you,
Yeah.
hauling carts, and I was like, maybe that's a new student.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is he, anyways, introduced himself. Very nice young man. So when I mentioned to him that we were, pretty much had decided we were moving and we did not want the other space, and we had found a place that we kind of liked for $500 a month, he immediately said, well, what if we dropped our price to $500 a month? I said,
interesting.
yeah. I said, well, why don't you find out? He says he has to go back to his board.
Yeah.
So by next week, he said he'd get back to me by the next week, and then I'll try to wrap the other one up by next week. But this place, we may, end up here. And also, the Methodist Church is another option on the terminal. But I'm not sure they would do a sunroom. I'm not sure they have storage. And I'm not sure they would leave the doors open for us during the sit, which is the other problem.
Oh.
So July 1st is going to come up before next Saturday?
Right, so I said we would do month to month at $600 a month.
Well, why 600 if he's talking about 500?
Well, that's,
The board has to vote.
yeah. His
What I
board.
propose to do is, I will pay 500 and with a stipulation that if it's 600, then we will pay the difference, but for now,
That's fine.
we'll pay 500.
Hold on, let me finish. Dr. Monk. I am sort of going to be preoccupied. No, I'm just going to be busy for the next couple of months, and I'll be checking in on Zoom. And I'm sure you can manage without me. But there was mentioned that it would be nice to have my pickup truck to move everything all at once.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can manage without me, but if there's a particular time when we need to move, I would like to know. I'll be here next week, but then I'm got guests and visitors and things going on that I want to stay close to.
Okay. Well, we'll ask you, but no is an okay answer as well. You can say no.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
But we will ask.
It would be nice to know if you needed me, I could come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Appreciate
why would we
that.
say no? He's offering his truck, he's just saying, let me know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we would probably need it,
Yeah. But if
We don't have a lot of stuff.
but if we
You
need it
have
at a
teeny
time,
cars.
we
I'm
need.
sorry, you guys have teeny cars. I have a big ass truck.
You're
And I've come under fire for that.
Hey, my back seat's full down.
But it's useful.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of volume.
Yeah, we have a lot. Yeah, those crates are, full, and that's only half the stuff we actually.
And it could be all done at once with one
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah, that would be it. That would be
So
ideal.
let me know.
And I still have that old ginormous Futsudan that we were using at the church. That has been in my place since then. And it would be nice to come back to a new home.
Yeah.
So that will be a trip
What
to.
is that like an altar? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
It's literally 4 feet tall,
Mhm.
big. Yeah.
So how do you see the calendar, Mike? We need to,
Well, I think that I'll today call for a board meeting in 2 weeks. We'll kind of gather the information for next Saturday, and then the following Saturday after that, on the 11th, we'll take a board vote and make a decision as to which of the 2 or 3 places we want to.
Yeah. A board means everybody. The board
Yeah.
meetings are open. Yes, Ash.
I will be back until the 11th, and then Colorado next weekend.
Okay.
Will be here.
We'll be here.
We'll still be.
Yeah, yeah, because they've actually boarded up the street for how long?
Oh, it's not boarded up, it's just barricaded for, till the end of the World Cup, which is until mid-July.
Okay, so we'll be here until then,
So is
anyway.
the street, Third Street with the parking structure, is that inaccessible?
Oh, Alex said it now.
Parking structure, which was free for the first 2 hours, is
Yeah.
currently $20.
But that's probably for the World Cup.
For the World Cup.
It's for the World Cup,
yeah.
So Ash, do we
As
have
long
your,
as the World Cup.
do we have your email
lasts,
address?
We can get there.
I
Yeah.
believe I left it.
You left it, okay. We'll make sure that's on there. So we'll, because I'll,
I was gonna say I can give the number too.
probably emails enough for now, because I'll send out announcements. When we actually make the move, I'll send an email blast out to everybody. And so everybody will know the dates and times and, you know, when the address, parking, we'll put all that detail in an email, so you'll get it that way. But we'll be here, but when we get back.
Well, there's those little slips over there, fill out one of the slips. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
Thanks,
So-
guys.
thanks, Ash. All right. Any,
It seems like one of the most important things for the other place is getting the approval of the leasing agent.
Yeah, yeah, I made the calls Friday, but they didn't return it, so I'll try again this week. I'm sure they'll tell me, but I gotta kind of, I feel like I need to kind of be very gentle how I approach this, because I don't really understand the relationship between Patricia and the owner and the leasing agent, and whether, you know, she's there on a month-to-month, but I think that's at the behest of the owner, and I don't, you know, so I gotta just kind of be careful as I kind of navigate that
yeah,
discussion.
we'll trust your,
Okay.
My lawyer's
yeah,
skills.
yes. Your ability, I mean, how many judges do you have to charm?
What?
They have the Tenant Protection Act, but I don't know if that extends
No,
to
that's not
commercial.
commercial.
Yeah, so that's a
No,
whole.
commercial is a whole other thing.
So it's already have
I don't
sense.
even know that she has a written lease. I mean, do you know? I don't think so.
I haven't grilled her on the
Yeah.
particulars, because I wanted, you know, this to come, you know, to see
Yeah.
if it was an okay space first before we got into that.
Yeah, if everything's loosey-goosey and the leasing agent's fine with that,
Yeah,
then we can do that. We can roll with that.
yeah.
Not have a written lease, you know, she's a month-to-month anyway.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I sort of felt, but then once again, I didn't grill her and pin her down, is that she is paying a certain amount every month to stay there, and that we would sublet, let lease from her
Yeah.
to help defray her costs.
I understand that's what
Okay.
she wants to do.
Yeah,
I just
but
don't
if
know
that, but if
if the
that's
leasing
not,
agent agrees with
right,
that.
if that's not possible, then, you know, we have to pay them directly, and she, you know, if she's gonna let us in every week, you know,
Well, then she has no economic value to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But she's trying to build a community center there too, so
Yeah.
we have value intrinsically by being there for her.
Right, and we can also get keys from the, you know, their own set of keys if we needed to, you know, I'm just saying,
Well, she's got a big padlock on the front door.
yeah.
I really need to know the answer to this question, and you may not have it, but we're talking about feasibility, but what I'm really interested in is what would be the most suitable place? If we're, you know, if we're staying here and there's an option, if this is the best place, or I just need to know that
Yeah.
before I raise my hand.
Yeah, I think that
The most
we,
desirable place.
yeah, we, as a group, we will decide that. We'll lay out all the options,
All right.
because we've got, it's nice that we have several options. You know, that's a
Mm.
good place to be.
If we could stay here for 500, then there's no point in moving, right?
Well,
Well, this
there's
is-
certain advantages to that place. One is we could leave everything out. No more setup and we're,
Yeah, right.
you know,
we have-
another, we could have the altar. I mean, you could really, and we
Yeah.
could expand, you
You
know.
could trick it out like any way you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is more traffic.
So, I mean, there are probably pluses and minuses for all the options, and let's just,
240 Pine.
yeah, let's lay it out, yeah. So it's called the Solo Gallery.
Oh, I prefer that.
She's voting already.
Your vote is in.
All right,
Really voting.
All right.
all right. All right, thanks.
Bring your neighbors.
Any other updates on this? All right, so more to come. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirk. See ya.